him a slight talking to, you know?
Is Disaster just going to engulf everybody like they've been doing?
Bring him an offer he can't refuse.
Yeah.
You know?
Those cash dollars.
Yeah.
Come play for us.
We're going to see. I'm going to remind myself a bit about what SHADOWSHADET has brought. He's got the Summit Temple, and that's the one that we were very interested in watching. SHEEPY has the Tilting Dragons and the White Wolf, which I think is a very dangerous combo.
Yep.
It's this end of the mid shadow, which I kind of wish was Daria, but
I
suppose when Sid treated him poorly, SHEEPY said no, no more.
The de facto decks, Daria, Tilting at Windmills Dragon, out of here. And now we get to see Neutral Forest and White Wolf Forest battled out against each other. The last time we saw this, I believe White Wolf Forest edged it out, but it wasn't running the White Wolf package. The neutral version wasn't. And I don't think SHADOWSHADET is either. I think SHADOWSHADET is just running regular Neutral Forest today.
Yes. Let me double triple check that. Yep, Neutral Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of players in North America like the Neutral Forest with the Elephant.
And it does really well because it has different mid-game options.
We saw that actually play out.
Yeah.
Where so many resources are spent on the Beauty and the Beast, and then there was still the late game, and it was specifically trying to kind of surface out any kind of Lily resources, right? And that just became a non-option because they were all expended.
It's good stuff. Now, as far as the normal matchup goes, I think that White Wolf Forest has the edge because it has the combo. It has a combo to end the game, whereas Neutral Forest just has big late-game boom boom.
Just has stuff, yeah.
Yeah, we called it the big dum-dum decks, right? Like, you just play a big dum-dum and hope it's good enough.
Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum.
Of course, we're not talking about the players.
No.
Okay. No. We're talking about the cards.
The players are 200 IQ geniuses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every single one of them.
Every one of them.
I wonder how traditional forest, you can't rely on things like Airbound. I suppose you do have the Jungle Warden evolve, so that's going to help. But they might have problems fighting up against a lot of what forest's big damage comes from is the Wood of Brambles, but that obviously doesn't work against Beauty and the Beast, right?
That's true.
So you might actually have some problems, especially if the Beauty and the Beast start happening back to back.
Well, there are mid-game options that Forestcraft has to take out Beauty and the Beast, but it has to set up something first. There's not a single follower in the deck that can do it.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
So it has to do something. It has to prepare for that turn 6. Oh,
you can fall from grace it. I forgot.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You can transform it.
Yeah. It's happening.
Yeah, it is happening.
Fall from grace.
That's right.
It's happening.
Lily can transform, so can fall from grace. So maybe we'll see it for the first time do something over 2 days.
Yeah.
That's crazy, that Fall from Grace being a tech card now that we think about it against Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
And against Tilting at Windmills.
Yeah.
Just never
never
lines up.
Yeah.
Just never happens.
Never happened. It's interesting. I wonder, I guess the lists don't really lend themselves well to it, but Mr. Full Moons have actually fallen off as well.
Yeah, Mr. Full Moons are out of there. And I think that's because there's less Aegis. There's less, like, big, boom booms that just end the game that you need to Mr. Full Moon.
Also tough when you think about things like Daria, right? Like, you're not really Mr. Full Mooning anything there.
Right.
As well as, like, even Word Wielder Ginger packages, right? You're not
sure. I mean, you Word Wielder and it's... Sure.
Yeah.
Mr. Full Moon, one of my guys. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Strix, honestly, too. Strix has not really been impressing me lately. Impartial Strix.
Yeah. It's, I mean, classically, like, we talk about things like, okay, there's a few decks that I kind of put into one category. There's the Atomy decks. There's the Neutral Forest stuff, which includes things like Strix and Beauty and the Beast. But typically things that make one Mega Follower, right?
Yeah.
And especially if they don't immediately swing on the turn that they're dropped, it's actually so rare that we see them swing at all.
And then later in the game, as we saw, even as early as turn 5, these Strixes have been turned off and not getting full value. And then they just kind of sit in hand as a neutral card, which is fine for the deck, but you can do that with any neutral card.
The Impartial Strix just acts really cool, but it's actually just kind of...
He's a punk, that
yeah,
Al.
Kind of a punk.
He's like, sup. He's the bouncer at the club that leaves early. That's what he is.
Oh, man.
Early in the night, he's got his energy going, stuff like that, but then later at night, he's just like, I'm piecing.
Yeah.
I'm not
I can relate. I know exactly what that's like. I'd go to clubs.
I don't believe you at all.
Why don't you believe me?
You're not a club man.
Could be.
I feel like you are an anime and Cheetos man.
Wow. I like Doritos a little bit better.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Doritos it is then. Any particular flavor, because they have a million flavors now.
Yeah, I like the default, the normal.
Okay, just regular
Anything
nacho
spicy.
cheese?
I love spicy food.
Okay, all right.
So that's what I would go for.
Okay.
The
I think I've always
burritos.
been a fan of the salsa verde.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
I like
It's got an exotic name.
Yeah, verde.
That's probably half the enjoyment right there.
It is.
You
It's
just
most
say
of the
that for the rest of the
enjoyment.
evening.
Excuse me, what are you eating? Salsa verde.
You're such an American.
Yeah, I know. I've already talked about this today, okay? I know I am. I know that I could be better if I was European, okay? And I had a cool accent, but I don't.
You're fine just the way you are.
Thank you.
And in
Thank
that
you.
I'm saying you won't get any better.
All right, so let's look at the options for Sheepy here.
Sheepy's thinking about it.
Yeah, Sheepy is definitely thinking about it. He can trade in here. Not going to happen. Goes full face for 2 damage. He could apply a Wood of Brambles and do kind of a 50-50 trade. Trade out one of his followers here and set up 2 more.
I think it's tough. I mean, the Jungle Warden is a very valuable card because if you play it too early, then SHADOWSHADET can find another way around it, and then the Beauty and the Beast comes down and you're in trouble.
Yeah, I don't think the Jungle Warden's going to be played anytime soon. I think the Wood of Brambles is good. It just really depends on how many fairies he wants to play versus how many cards he wants to keep in his hand for the Cassiopeia, and if he wants to trade or not. Looks like he's not forcing the trade. He's going to make SHADOWSHADET do that.
Yeah. Which I kind of like. The Pure-Hearted Singer's not necessarily threatening. You don't want to speed up their draw either. And again, like, the big thing here is there's this definitive endgame for Sheepy. And on SHADOWSHADET's side, it's just this chain of Sahagwil Israfils, which feed the White Wolf, right? Each Sahagwil you drop is just one more opportunity for a White Wolf to threaten you.
This is turn 4, and that Strix is not online. I'm just going to point that out.
Oh my gosh.
Are we, like...
How many neutral cards are you running?
Yeah,
I mean,
if it's not active on turn 4, then you have built your deck improperly, I feel like.
yeah, he's pulled at least 7 neutral cards, and that's gone. I guess that was a little bit on the high side, but...
So I'm not saying anything negative about SHADOWSHADET, but it's like, stop playing Strix, yo. Strix not doing his job. If you have to play more Forestcraft cards in your deck than you would normally want to compete with the format, just take Strix out.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
That. Nothing wrong with that.
It's literally like playing a Necro Assassin with no value and evolving it. You know what I mean?
That's true. Okay, so we're back onto Sheepy's turn. He now has a Sylvan Justice, which can be handy, I suppose.
I mean, Sylvan Justice is great against his Strix. It allows him to trade for free with the Wood of Brambles in play. Honestly, he can preserve hand size too with that play only. Doesn't have to put anything else in play. Could, probably not going to since he's playing against neutral forest, transform his Wood of Brambles after he attacks so that it still maintains value. Should be kind of goofy.
I assume you would go face. I don't think evolving is too valuable because it's just going to get hectored.
Yeah. Don't need to. Don't need evolve. This could be a turn where he does decide to trade with the Pure-Hearted Singer just to clear off a little bit of the board leading up to these Beauty and the Beast turns. And he's not going to have the option anymore. Yep.
Goes ahead and does that. But again, I mean, look at this board right now. 3 fairies, and Wood of Brambles is gone, and wouldn't even have helped in that scenario. If you evolve the Jungle Warden and do 6, plus the 3 fairies is still just 9. The Beauty and the Beast is still there.
Yep. Unfortunately, for SHADOWSHADET, there is no Beauty and the Beast yet.
So tragic. Whenever you feel like you would want it, it's
This
just
is the absolute perfect hand for it. You have 2 Hectors, you have 2 Sahas, 2 Israfels, you have an Air, and you have literally every piece of your deck.
Yeah.
Except for the Beauty and the Beast. And this, I think this begs to show that people just, again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago about Staircase to Paradise just like falling out of favor with these decks. Being a card that you might want to play again just because you need some card draw on these neutral forest decks. You need something.
Yeah. There's only a slim window where Beauty and the Beast really shines.
You can play it late in the game, but...
Funnily enough, yeah, I feel like it's right when you first get there and then after all the evolution orbs are gone, right? So that kind of middle period where most average Beauty and the Beast would come out are actually probably the worst times.
Like this turn, Cassiopeia, great play. Push your 1 damage, present some tempo. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, you can still hold your Jungle Warden, you can still hold your Fall from Grace. You hold your Aaron as well. And remember, every turn that the Sahak Wheel Israfil combo comes out, that's just one more piece of thing that the White Wolf can throw himself into.
That's right. Now, at the moment, with 2 Evolution Orbs, no Evolution Orbs being used yet. Jungle Warden can attack for 10. And then a King Elephant with an Evo can definitely attack for 10. But I don't think it will need to this turn because, or this game, because no healing yet. Israfils can come down to heal.
Yeah. But especially if there's no Evolution Orbs, it's very unlikely that the Israfil will be able to come down. And if this fairy does any more damage, even an Israfil heal will not help.
That's right. Alright, Hector, full value here.
Not going to evolve.
No,
very
definitely
important to
not.
save that.
Definitely not this turn.
Oh, interesting. Has another transform in the Lily.
This is like the most awkward turn for Sheepy. He doesn't really have to do anything this turn. He can actually just pass. There's not really good options anyway. Like, he doesn't really want to play the Aaron here. He could play a Fairy Whisper.
Yeah, I guess playing the Fairy Whisper to increase hand size and make sure that you don't have to spend those play points later on is probably good. Maybe if you plan on... So the only thing here, again, Aaron doesn't give you the extra slot for the Evolution Orb. So I suppose if you're not going to use the Evolution Orb, you may as well just play the Aaron here. But this is the opposite of, like, actually spending that Evolution Orb.
Yeah. Which is fine. It still keeps him ahead on board, doesn't die to a Hector.
Will be Saha is fulfilled.
Yep. Is going to force that out, which means that he gets to play into his White Wolf game plan. So nothing wrong with this.
Fighting is so crude.
There it is, and the first points of damage that SHADOWSHADET is going to do. Well, I guess maybe not because the Aaron healer came in, but I don't remember if he actually healed anything.
She'd be getting his Egyptian dance on.
Yeah. It's just going according to plan for Sheepy.
That's right. White Wolf in.
Here comes. When is White Wolf leaving? Is that next expansion?
No. Oh, you mean like next?
Okay.
Like not this current one,
next.
but yeah, I think next.
Feels like it's been around forever.
It's been around for a while. Honestly, it hasn't really been adopted that heavily. You know, I mean, in Japan, it was crazy for a long time. White Wolf used to be like one of the only decks people ran.
Yeah.
But it never really caught on here. Now it's kind of making a splash, like here and there every once in a while, but it's never been like a mainstay. But it has been around for a while, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're totally fine just snowmanning that.
Easily.
It's just there's with Fall from Grace and a bunch of lilies, I don't see, especially when you're not going up to turn 10, right, and getting storm damage. Like even if you were to play an Israfil, that's so much sunk into that just becomes a snowman.
Absolutely. And that's really the only play that SHADOWSHADET has available to him, right? He can play the Israfil, try to heal to 20, try to put himself out of range of lethal.
So Jungle Warden, on turn 10, he's going to have 8 cards in hand, 7, bounce 2, go up to 9 plus 8, so it's 8 plus 8 plus 2. Not quite, 18 damage.
Yep.
If he had a way to get 9 cards in hand on turn 10, that would be a different story.
Israfil, great play here. Prevents the lethal.
Yep, needs to clear board.
Also kind of prevents all of that other play, too. Like, he's got to deal with this Israfil.
Yeah, because it's not lethal. This is why sometimes things like Loki can be very nice.
Loki, I feel like, is a card that's missing from a lot of these decks. It just gives you that extra oomph. Although most of our players have been drawing Jungle Warden alongside their King Elephant like clockwork, so
yeah,
maybe they just don't need it.
So what is the way to...
Well, you've got to get rid of the Israfil.
Yeah, you get rid of the Israfil. I think the Starry Elf, which will probably pool a Wood of Brambles, is going to help your hand size, which is exactly what you need at this point, right? You just need to buff your hand size. The Zeus will now actually turn off... Okay, I see this. The Zeus will actually turn off the Jungle Warden option. Wouldn't it be crazy if you airbound barraged your elephant?
Well, I mean, that would be a play if it was available. I don't see why that would be bad.
What's that for?
That would actually guarantee the win.
Now, this does produce a 9/9 threat that SHADOWSHADET has to do. So if Sheepy did not do this, it would mean that there would be an empty board that SHADOWSHADET could do whatever he wanted to.
I wonder if you evolve this, the Zeus would have to trade.
That's
Whereas
true.
now the Zeus actually survives. And remember what I said about the Jungle Warden thing, right? It actually turns that off. But even if you did do that, it only puts SHADOWSHADET at what, 9? Which the Jungle Warden would be 1 off.
This is a pretty tough game. Both players still have a chance to win this. Really just depends on the ordering on which they play their cards.
Ideal scenario, I think, is a second White Wolf gets pooled.
Yeah.
Given this circumstance, because then you can respond to the Zeus, get rid of it. Also, make sure your next turn is a guaranteed victory.
But you do have to put a ward up this turn. That's the big thing. Now this one, I don't know if it's good enough, because this one can just get run over by the elephant if it needed to, or the elephant can just run right through it.
7, 8. Do you have 2 more damage? If not, I think it's just over.
My boss works us to the bone.
Well, it's not over.
Wait,
I don't
is
think.
it 4 evolve? 1 of the Jungle Wardens. 9 plus 4 is 13. It might be just 1 off.
Yeah.
Oh, come on! Ow!
Yeah.
He's not setting up for a lethal either, though. SHADOWSHADET's kind of in a weird place.
Well, the Jungle Warden will certainly be good defense against all of this.
Yeah, I mean, you can Jungle Warden evolve one of them, take out the Aaron and go face with everything else, and then you still have a lethal elephant sitting in play.
Again, the elephant continues to just go past ward.
Very strong. Let's see, Cassiopeia could deal 8 to everything, which is not quite good enough.
Yeah, 1, 2. If you did Cassiopeia, you could probably accompany that with a Brambles something. But I like the Jungle Warden play because it does put wards down for yourself. Makes it harder to reach the elephant. That's already very, very powerful.
Protección. And honestly, you could be super safe too and run the elephant into the air and then just Jungle Warden for 8 to the face. Or you could just
Okay, now Jungle Warden's the only thing.
yeah, Cassiopeia down the board this way. Nothing wrong with this.
I don't like this because now the elephant can be Zeused.
But that's still fine, right? Because then Zeus will be left with 1 HP.
That's right.
One defense, and then that's easy to climb through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Israfil Evolve?
I think last turn the best play was to Zeus, and now this turn, it gets so much harder because you still haven't dealt with the elephant. I mean, that's the only way to kill the elephant.
Yeah, you have to destroy the elephant, so maybe Israfil Evolve will heal you up. But it's still lethal because the Cassiopeia will be remaining.
Yeah, this is over.
So Hawk Wheel?
I mean, like, another play would be like Hector, and then, Happy Pig Evolve. Trait, that's still not good enough.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything.
I think there's no way out.
There's no way out here. I think not playing the Zeus the previous turn was kind of a fold for SHADOWSHADET, unfortunately. We were talking about this game could have been won by either player realistically, but it really comes down to ordering. SHADOWSHADET with 1 mistake.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
And again, it's just there's so much that the White Wolf Forest deck demands, right? As opposed to Neutral Forest, which kind of has to fall into its win.
Yes, indeed. And this is crazy stuff too, because this is kind of like leaving a Beauty and the Beast in play, right? When you have this big of an elephant, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna leave this in play.
This is gonna be exactly lethal here. It's gonna heal for 3, and the Jungle Warden is gonna do 8. 10, really. Oh, the Pappy Pig didn't even get.
No.
Yep. So it's just totally done.
In there. All right. So now Sheepy has to win 1 game with his mid-range Shadowcraft deck. He's got to do it against 2 decks that have the chance to beat it. We'll see.
Sheepy with the game up knows that it's just down to this. This is gonna get him into the $1,500 range as opposed to the $950 range.
That's right.
ShadowShadet needs to figure out a way to pull himself together.
I think ShadowShadet's just ready to go. ShadowShadet just chilling, ready to play his match. Nothing phases him. Doesn't matter if he's losing.
Yeah. But Sheepy's a cruising. ShadowShadet's a losing. The
Here we go.
is giving him a bruising.
More.
I don't know anymore.
Man, we need to build an anime story, and you need to recite it. And then when I say more, you have more pages written down that you can just recite from.
An anime story?
Yeah, like we were doing earlier.
What classifies as an anime story?
Anything that you want it to be.
Oh.
An anime story is literally just a fairy tale cartoon.
That's not true.
I mean, it made in Japan, sure. Okay. Qualifier, I suppose.
There's a lot of different storylines and types of stories you can tell.
Exactly.
Through
That's what I'm
anime.
saying. You can do whatever you want.
It doesn't necessarily need to be a fairy tale.
Well, I know. I'm just... Look, man.
Time for me to prove
Look.
myself.
Just write a story. Just write a frickin' story. And I want to
Also,
hear it.
I disagree with the fact that you think anime is fiction. Anime is real.
Oh, right? Okay. Okay. Fair point. I'm kind of scared now. Anime is real. Oh, well. Okay. Do you model your life around anime then? If it is real to you?
My life is an anime.
Okay. Interesting.
It's real.
So what am I to you if this is an anime?
You are the dumb side character that just bothers me all the time.
So rude. So rude. What do they say? Hold on. To tsundere.
Tsundere. Tsundere is not... Tsundere is like if you really like somebody or are in love with them, but you are too embarrassed about it, so you act like you don't. So like you get really embarrassed. So whenever you do something nice and the other person notices, then you get really embarrassed and you're like, oh, I didn't do this to help you out, or like, oh, I didn't mean to. It was convenient for me.
Is there a word for somebody that you pretend to be friends with that you bash on live air? Is there a word for that? Is there a word for this?
I
think it's called Arthur. I think it's called Arthur.
I think it is a little bit tsundere, but I don't actually like you, so.
Jesus. Brutal. Brutal here today. Last match of the day. Therapy indeed. It's coming my way.
Therapy is coming your way.
See, I'm even the rhyming is infecting my brain.
Yeah. Last match of the day. Therapy on the way.
Oh Lord. All right. So Sheepy doing his turn 1 shenanigans with the goblin. It's the same thing, and I think he does this on purpose now. Yeah. I think if he has a play on turn 1, the goblin specifically.
This is what ShadowShadet is saying. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start using the voice lines.
That's right.
I really appreciate. You know what is genius design on the part of side games is the fact that if you click the voice line or you tap it like really fast, they made it so that you can actually spam the voice lines on top of one another.
Why do you want to do that?
It feels great.
It feels great?
It feels great.
I can live through this character.
Otherwise, if it was not satisfying to spam the voice line, then this game would be much harder for me to play.
Is it true?
Yeah,
Why?
it's true.
Why?
I just like clicking things.
Okay, that's fair. Well, the whole screen, if you click, it glitters, you know? Like it traces your finger and glitters the whole time.
I believe the interaction on this stage is the top left spike. It falls into the lava. And then it comes back.
Interesting.
Have you not done that?
No, I haven't done the interactions on most of these maps.
Wow.
I don't click a lot. I'm not a clicker.
I have to incessantly click things.
I noticed that a lot too. When you watch a lot of streamers do anything, they're just clicking constantly. It drives me mad. I don't know how people do it. I just sit back and relax, and if I have to click, I'll click, you know?
Okay. We're working our way up. No card advantage in hand.
That's right. Turn 2 has finally been completed.
Oh!
Elf Twins Assault to wipe it all out.
All that hard work.
Yeah. All that thinking.
They probably had a bunch of inspirational speeches of like, you can do it.
That's right.
Let's go out and make a difference for disastrous Sheepy.
This was tearing up to be a really good draw for Sheepy too, with that with the Prince Catacomb freshly drawn. Had a nice little curve going into it. Unfortunately, SHADOWSHADET did have the Elf Twins Assault to take care of that board.
Yeah. Elf Twins Assault. What an interesting card. It's one of the most efficient, I feel like, removal spells in the game, but...
100%. Except you have to play a really weird deck in order to utilize it.
Yeah. Maybe well-balanced in that sense.
So here's a question, right? Goblin Mage leaving, Fina leaving, Lyriel leaving, Angel of the Word leaving, Kai'Sa leaving. But
Why
all
is
of these,
everybody leaving?
But all of these neutral, it's just what's happening in the rotation.
Leaving us behind?
Yeah, they're just leaving us behind. What's going to happen to the context of neutral decks?
Gone.
I mean, Saha Quill gone. So like the top end and the low end is just like leaving. We're going to need like a whole new installation of neutral cards. It's going to be Tartmans and Happy Pigs for days. That's all we're going to see forever.
Left.
All right. Tartman.
Tartmans
We're going to see him
versus
very
Happy
soon.
Pigs.
I guarantee it.
3, 2, 1. Huh! There it is.
There he is. Yep. It's going to be Tartmans and Happy Pigs all day, every day.
Tartman.
That's a lot of neutral cards leaving that were staples for a very long time, though. And I don't think that gap is going to be filled immediately. I don't think it can be. There's too many cards.
Pure-Hearted Singer is still going to be there.
Yep, Pure-Hearted Singer will still be there.
Yeah, Goblin Mage has been such a good card. I think she comes in and out, of course, depending on your decks.
Same with Kai'Sa.
But yeah, Kai'Sa, Goblin Mage.
See, we were just saying our goodbyes to all these sweet neutral cards that we just don't get to play anymore.
Goblin Mage is a fan favorite, too.
Yeah, so is Fortune Hunter Fina. We haven't seen a lot of her lately because a lot of combo decks have kind of gone by the wayside. And people just don't value her as much on the Evo turns as they used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, all gone. Gone.
The game is going to be different. It's the end of an era.
That's right. This is the biggest change to the game happening, and I cannot wait. Means people have to rethink how they play this game.
That's what Classic Man was most excited about.
Yep.
Excited about Dragoncraft getting a rehash to its philosophies and strategies.
It also means this will be the last competitive tournament where we have to sit around and watch big dum-dums just get played turn after turn after turn after turn, because it won't be possible anymore.
We'll see.
The big dum-dum strategy will go away.
Maybe they'll be empowered to play even bigger.
Oh, yeah?
Those. Yeah.
Well, I'll be fine. Like, Deepwood Anomaly, yeah, he's a cool dum-dum. He's a cool big dum-dum. Yeah.
I still want to see that animation on broadcast.
Yeah, we need to see Deepwood Anomaly. That is a card that has been lacking from competitive play. As a matter of fact, I think it might be one of the only legendaries that we haven't seen in competitive play, period. Like, ones that you could play that end the game.
That's probably true. Literally Evolve is a turn. Oh, the abs! Oh my god.
Abs on abs on abs.
Oh, check out Deepwood Anomaly on screen. It's such a cool looking card. But yeah, if it ever attacks face, the game's over.
Yeah, it just ends. You would think that that card could be played. But how? But how would do?
Needs to survive a turn and get past wards and not be locked out.
And not get involved into. I mean, realistically, you know what? In the context of these games, imagine if the Forestcraft player just played this against Shadowcraft, for instance.
Yeah, you would basically require the Shadowcraft player to have some way to pop a Lurching Corpse or a Necro Assassin.
Or they'd have to run their entire board into it. It's kind of like the Beauty and the Beast thing, except it's later in the game, so it might be a little bit harder because Evolution Orbs are down. Maybe you've dealt with the context of the board a little bit better. Yeah. It's interesting.
Crazy. If only there were cheap wards that you could put in front of it.
If only. There have been plenty. This is why we don't see this card, and I'm sad.
Yeah. Sheepy's still thinking very, very hard about his turn. I think this is probably a dangerous time for Sheepy right now.
What are you hiding inside?
It is.
The cards he has are not great.
Dance, dear bones.
This will go into the Lyriel. Even out the board, but yeah, no card advantage for Sheepy. Means that this mid-game to late game is going to get really scary for him. SHADOWSHADET, there it is. There's the staircase.
On the warfield.
Don't see it as much anymore. Probably just one of or two ofs in these decks these days.
Yeah. If Sheepy can't put up a compelling board soon, I mean, his first evolution orb was basically a giveaway, right? This is gonna spell problems for him.
He's just gonna have to play from behind for a long time. And Thane is not a card that can catch you up anymore like it used to be.
Probably. I suppose the Aisha has to go.
I mean, he could Necro Assassin, but that's real scary. If he hits the wrong one here, that's basically all of his resources gone. Because he'll have to
he'll
Evo.
have to evolve. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? The sector is coming
Aisha
for
feels
you.
bad too. I mean, technically you still win on board, but you haven't done anything, right? You're left with a 1/1.
Yeah. This is the most bricky Shadowcraft game we've seen in a while.
I mean, we see him every once in a while though. It's kind of like an ebb and flow. Like I want to say like a third, or maybe a quarter of all the Shadowcraft games that we see kind of end this way. It's just they kind of just run out of options, don't draw their card draw. Went for the gamble. You know what? I have to respect it. If you're gonna be behind for so long, you've got to take a gamble. Wins the gamble, so good on him. This allows him to get a little bit more ahead than he would otherwise.
Yeah. Could make the difference. Saves the resource that is the Aisha.
That's right. That's one of those plays, though. I mean, if he loses that, he pretty much loses the game.
Wow. Still goes for the evolution orb. Just tries to find a value trade here. I don't know how far that's going to extend. Still 2 evolution orbs, and Hector still exists. Yeah, there's just so much at SHADOWSHADET's disposal. Yeah.
Got a lot of options. Doesn't have Sockwill in hand, but at the moment doesn't really need it.
I think the tough part is if Sheepy loses this match, he has to play the Shadowcraft deck again into Summit Temple.
Yeah.
Which
that's, I mean, we've already talked about that.
Yeah.
I've made my thoughts known about that matchup.
You definitely do not want to drop against Neutral Forest here.
Quiet.
Yeah, this is, I mean, this is a really good position for SHADOWSHADET. I feel like he gave away a little bit of the tempo that turn by playing the Staircase.
Pure-Hearted. Yeah, it was definitely a very kind of draw-oriented play that did not necessarily deal with the board, but the response of possibly an Hector doesn't feel too compelling. There's still no card draw. There's no evolution orbs for the entry alphas, even if you got it.
You're feeling safe. I feel like the Staircase play here wasn't needed. I feel like he could have just played like an Aaron or something and just kept the board in his favor. Like, especially with the evolution advantage, using an evolution on something like a Pure-Hearted Singer doesn't really give you that much value.
Yeah. I wonder if there even is a way. You're so far ahead. As you go into the late game, you've done not really any face damage. If you Hector, you'll get a bunch of zombies, but you need to figure out a way to build your shadows back up. Really, the key timing here is if you can play your Thane, but it's so hard to get away with Thane these days.
I feel like this is a game where Thane can finally shine, though. Like, there's not really a lot of options for Sheepy. It can generate a lot of shadows. It can deal some damage. It can give you some card
As long as you can sidestep the Sahagwil Israfil.
Yeah.
He has one part of that in the Israfil, but will he draw the Sahagwil? Has
Even
2
if
draws to do it.
Even if so, he'd want to do it this turn.
On the warfield, a shining helmet.
Last evolution orb.
And honestly, Sheepy kind of navigated this mid-game along with SHADOWSHADET's play of the Staircase that allowed Sheepy to not get too far behind into this mid-game.
So I think now you can actually play Thane.
This is a very good turn for Thane.
Thane, the zombie can go in and do the 2 damage ping.
You already know that the Sahagwil Israfil combo isn't there, or else it would have been used that last turn.
Does set up possibilities for Prince Catacomb and Entry Alphas. And you get the White King.
It's good times. Plus, you get to trade here and get more value for your trade. Get an extra 2 damage. Get all that much closer to the ever important 10 defense.
I think the key here is, will SHADOWSHADET pull the Sahagwil on this turn swap? If he does, I think he's feeling very comfortable because it shuts down the 2 whites, deals with the Thane, And
But
looking at Sheepy's
But if
hand,
he
there's not much
doesn't, the
more.
Thane is like the perfect board threat right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think for Sheepy, there's no other option, right?
Yeah.
You're
Like
not really
he's
getting
playing out the
anywhere.
scenario where Andriolphus Prince Catacomb is the play,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't have the Actar to back up that play anyway, and he's still a couple turns off away from Aisha.
Here it comes.
I'm sorry.
Goes for the trade. Down to 12. This is a big moment here.
Needs to draw something decent for
SHADOWSHADET.
this turn.
Oh,
You're an
no!
intruder.
Aaron will give the evolve.
Aaron's not
Here's another
bad.
2 damage. If she goes for the Thane, it's another 2 damage ping. Oh,
No Evo.
that's going to make Catacomb real good.
Yeah.
If you Andrew Alpha's Catacomb here.
Yeah, locking your board isn't that big of a deal. Honestly speaking. Probably safer not to. Probably Prince Catacomb followed by Andriolphus this turn.
But over the course of 2 turns with this particular board lock, you still can win the game, right? 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. I don't think you can let the board lock just hang. Because it's either one swipe puts you at, you know, whatever it is. Well, there's actually no way to get past the Aaron without swinging more than 1 follower in
Yeah,
here.
you've got to swing 2 followers in. You know what? I think this is an opportunity where you could play the full value. Is he not going to play it at all? Or is he just doing it the fancy way? The thinking man's way. I don't need it for this first attack. Honestly, one thing to keep a note that you can learn from Sheepy's play here, as far as taking your time, if you are going to take the full turn, make sure you do some actions before the end so you don't have to flood your actions at the end of the turn, because we've seen a couple players get caught in that crossfire.
The
and it's
time
no
runs
good.
out.
Yeah.
Happened to Sheepy before as well. Had to throw away one of his whites.
So it basically does the same thing, just in a different order. Has 4 cards with the effect in play.
We'll get the White King back on this swing. A lot of things are coming back, right? You get 4 skeletons plus the White King on this Israfil drop. It's only unfortunate that everything
You're dead
is
for it.
eliminated here.
That's right, so the little white there will not get any extra damage dealt. Ooh, Shadow Reaper.
Needs to find a way to get rid of this 4 plus 10 is 14.
So close.
God!
So close. For how far behind he was, yeah, the plays from SHADOWSHADET not really stopping him. However, this Israfil is a monster.
Shadow Reaper is going to get buffed up.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still use your Aisha.
Gotta make it at least a 3-3 to start. However, Bahamut's going to close the door on this plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, there's just so much going against Sheepy this game.
Mm-hmm.
And you're at that point where the top-end neutral cards are really just going to outvalue, especially when you have a 16 health buffer. Probably the most damage that you're going to get is this turn, at the start of this turn with the Aisha play.
Yeah. There's just no real way to do it. I mean, he's just got to go face with these 2 skeletons. There's not really another play with these. Not really sure what this does. Okay, opens up for a bigger Reaper. Okay.
Well, the Bahamut's going to come down anyways.
Yep.
I assume swing the Israfil and then Bahamut. Wow, he just what, milled like 2 cards there?
He's going to make Sheepy feel really good for 2 seconds. Oh, yes, the Shadow Reaper.
Oh boy. Oh yes. There's no way you're going to let that Shadow Reaper just sit there.
No, not a chance. Now, there is a case to be made for Jungle Warden here. Because Aisha can't really blow past both, or either,
Yeah, either of them.
and neither can the Shadow Reaper.
It's not Albert. Doesn't get the shield effect.
Right. Yeah, Bahamut's the safest play, I think.
Okay, back to square one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is the big nose marks the end of the game.
Yeah, honestly, I think you just kind of have to slam the Aisha and then pray that you draw something that can work against this this Bahamut slash whatever comes out next. I don't think you're ever going to get opportunities to save this anymore, and playing the Belinus and the Goblin literally do nothing.
Your story ends here.
Sheepy sees that.
Yep.
Oh, come on!
Okay. But as we know, the Zeus plus the Bahamut are going to close it out, bring SHADOWSHADET 1-1 against Sheepy, and so it's going to go down to the Summit Temple match. Is Summit Temple sturdy enough to fight off?
I think so. I think so.
This is Exo's reputation on the line.
Well, no, I already passed my test.
Oh, that's right. That
Yeah.
was that game before.
That was that game before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shadow sucks. I get to say it now.
Oh,
I had a qualifier for it,
and
and I passed the qualifier. Okay.
you did. That is something that you did.
Yeah, I made it up. I made the qualifier as well, and then I won it. This is how I do things.
$1,500 or $950. Which is it gonna be?
That's right. Big change here. I mean, possible 6,500 for the winner. Loser 950.
Yeah. You can go on to win even more. On the losers bracket, Sheepy and SHADOWSHADET are trying to keep their dream alive.
That's right. Europe versus Europe.
Get to the underworld.
Havencraft versus Shed.
Is fighting and
Ooh,
despair all you
Shadowcraft.
know?
I don't like that one. Nope.
Nope.
And like you said, 950 versus 1,500 plus. And honestly, this is SHADOWSHADET's biggest game. This is Sheepy's reputation on the line. Can he stick it out? A lot of things riding on this game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very tough if Sheepy gets into this game where he just can't get anything started in the early turns, because eventually, kind of Heavenly Knight after Heavenly Knight is tough for Aisha to get past.
Honestly, it's the lack of shadows that really hurts the Shadowcraft matchup. So, like, there are good responses to pretty much every turn that Shadowcraft has in the mid game. And the lack of shadows means that Ektars and things that you would normally expect to be good in the mid game aren't as good. Because of all the banish that Havencraft has. All right. Start the clock on Sheepy's turn. He's got Goblin on turn 1. Here we go.
Oh gosh. Here it comes.
Start the clock. Oh, it's good stuff. It's good
I like
stuff.
it.
Sheepy, you're the man. Reminds me of an old Magic friend that I had in other card games that I used to play. I had a friend who would literally he would go to a bigger event and probably draw 3 out of all of his rounds, which is absurd because draws are terrible when you play in events, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't count as wins.
Yeah.
But he'd be fine with it. He's just like, yeah, just play really slow. It's just what I do.
Oh my god.
To be fair, he was a really good player, and he won more than he lost. The draws didn't always hurt him.
That's how you got to do it.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's how you find your consistency.
Now, thankfully, in digital card games, there are set time limits. You cannot actually
I think it's
time
1
your opponent
minute
out.
30 is when the timer starts, and 2 minutes is when the turn ends. I think.
Crystals of snow shimmer in the night.
All right, Snow White. No Gemstone Carapace to back it up for SHADOWSHADET. Does have Blackened Scripture, though, to kind of help with the early game. Has Pure-Hearted Singer as well. Sheepy, though, also with a great curve. Has the 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to Prince Catacomb with Skull Ray.
Yeah. It's a good hand, and this is not a scenario where we see kind of the Summit Temple Gemstone Carapace thing. Getting to experience that is
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's a really great early game, especially if they don't have the immediate zombie party. So a lot of times when you play, more experienced players with Shadowcraft, when you're playing it with Havencraft, they will take out that Snow White before you have the chance to do anything with it, because it can create those early game states that are just really hard to deal with. Unfortunately, it's really hard to do something about it anyway, because it's a 1-2. It's not like Shadow's going to have something bigger than that on the draw first.
Yep. Plays out the Belinus and goes for face.
I thought that was a Summon Temple for a second. I would have been very happy. Oh,
there it is.
1 card away.
Yeah, just saying, hey, we'll race.
Yeah. You almost never want to pop it on your turn unless you get benefit from it. You want to force your opponent to, because you have so many things that work with it in the deck. Yeah, I can't imagine the Skull Ring not being the play this turn. Really just depends on how he wants to trade this turn. Because if he trade, I mean, like, honestly, you have to look at the setup, right? Pure-Hearted Singer into the Bellinus, and then Snow White into the Bellinus. Upgrade or evolve Snow White, and then be able to take out something else while drawing cards. Very good.
Yeah. I think he has certain tools. He definitely has the value here, right? 2 1/2 followers on SHADOWSHADET's side. It's not going to be fantastic. Snow White does evolve into the 2/2, so that helps, but...
I mean, and what Sheepy doesn't know is that the Summit Temple has been drawn for SHADOWSHADET. And that kind of might not be on his mind because he would have expected to see the Summit Temple last turn if it was active.
3. Yeah.
Plus, Black and Scripture kind of messes up some game plans, too.
Sheepy is thinking about the master plan, so maybe he does consider that. He sees. He understands.
Well, we'll see. There wasn't any Gemstone Carapace. This might be an all-face play. If I was a Shadow player right now, I'd probably consider all-face.
Did you like it?
Sheepy goes for the control.
Not really sure that does anything, because again, that's a play that was already going to be made. I guess it does hedge a little bit against the Summit Temple play, and SHADOWSHADET does get the full house of cards this turn. Doesn't really need to play the Summit Temple this turn, though. Can play a Black Inscription instead.
Which might be really nice, avoiding the Bellinus.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid the Bellinus, take down a Skelly.
Yep, or a Goblin, honestly. I like that word, Skelly.
The Skelly.
Skelly. We've been using it a lot this weekend. I like it.
And here it comes. This is the anti-goblin play. Yeah, I like the Summit Temple in hand. I think it just has the flexibility, it has the capability of doing so much for Havencraft.
Yeah, and if you time it, and if you don't get it down early or need to get it down early, you can always time it to most benefit you, of course. Like Gemstone Carapace, very unassuming. You slam down a Summit Temple, not so unassuming anymore. And a lot of people don't remember that things like Priest of the Cudgel deal 5 when you have a Summit Temple in play after Evolve, so gotta pay attention to those things.
Yeah. So many Havencraft followers are defense biased. Summit Temple flips that all around.
Let's see. Best play for Sheepy here, of course. Prince Catacomb. Gets to fill up the board. There's not really much else to do this turn. Doesn't have an Andriolphus to Evo or anything like that. I suppose he could run both skeletons into the Snow White, evolve it, and then kill it with Soul Squasher, but that doesn't seem very good.
Yeah, that seems a little bit sideways.
Yeah. Losing quite a bit of value that way.
And you would also have to, oh well, you'd have to figure out a way to deal with the turtle as well.
Right. Because it evolving means that the turtle would pop out immediately.
What are you hiding inside?
Okay.
Question is, do you Evo for face or do you Evo for defense? Looks like defense.
Face.
Dance, dear bones
I
of
suppose no
light.
matter what you do, you're going to get Black Inscription, so.
Crystals of
I don't know
snow.
why he's allowing the turtle to come out a turn earlier. This just gives more advantage to SHADOWSHADET here.
Oh, not even hurting the turtle. This is what you were talking about. The opportune moment, you can just swing for 5 here. And you still have Black Inscription, so you can get rid of the 3/2.
SHADOWSHADET really bad at drawing his Priest of the Cudgels, I'll tell you that much.
There's more important things that his deck is drawing.
Alright.
Black Inscripture.
I'm pretty sure this will just be Summit Temple. Might even be an Evo to the face. That's a little crazy.
The fact that there's Soul Squasher
Yeah.
makes me feel like that's not always the good answer.
You don't need to do that at all.
Yeah.
It could be in line with a tempo play though. Like if you had 2 Heavenly Knights in hand right now, could be a consideration. Then again, you can always just save your evolution orbs for them as well.
Yeah, for the Heavenly Knight. I like the turn 6 with the Judge of Retribution. You get the Heavenly Knight on turn 7. You have a Dark Jean as well.
Yeah, you can also Ether of the White Wing into a Heavenly Knight on 8 if you'd like to pull another Heavenly Knight. It doesn't gain the Storm.
Doesn't have the Storm, yeah.
But you do put it into play with more defense.
Yeah, Sheepy has to think very carefully now that the Summit Temple is revealed. Basically took 5 because he was not aware.
Yep. Yeah, Havencraft, like I said, it's very unassuming with its damage until that Summit Temple comes down, and then it's just like, okay. Alright. It's a very good play. We've seen this quite often where an Aisha will come down and clear without dying. Now Sheepy is going to step on the gas. Yep.
Okay.
Well, Dark John could clear this entire board if that's the option. Priest is okay here as well, but not as good.
I kind of feel like you have to go with the Dark John.
Yeah, I think board clear is super important here.
It's going to be a 1-to-1 trade, though, right? Because that skeleton you'll have to run into.
This is the one weird position where I'm not a huge fan of not running at least one Ancient Lion Spirit, especially if you're planning on playing at Shadow a lot. It just gives you this huge opportunity to use this turn a little bit better and then save the Dark John. But without that option, Dark John will come down and clear the board and live to tell the tale.
Could potentially push the Soul Squasher out of hiding.
Skeleton Prince is now a nice little new option. But of course, Judge of Retribution makes that play a little bit worse.
Yeah, that 7 damage is annoying to deal with, too.
Yeah. Well, realistically, you got to think, too. Dark John's a Havencraft follower. Right now, that is a 1-1 on offense. So you don't really have to worry about it.
That's right.
It looks scary. It's a
It does.
7-1. But realistically, it can only attack for 1 damage at the moment.
So maybe setting up the Skeleton Prince is a choice.
I think it's a pretty good one. As a matter of fact, as soon as you can get Havencraft followers down to 1 defense, you just kind of ignore them.
SHADOWSHADET running into that situation again where he actually draws his Aegis, which means that the Ether of the White Wing can't pull it.
Alright, Sheepy understanding Temple Haven. Judge of Retribution, I can't imagine. Oh, never mind. Oh, does he think he won or something? Was that the champions fist up? Maybe he didn't understand? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. SHADOWSHADET talking to himself like, oh, yep, never mind.
Of course. Of course.
Of course. And that means that he made, I feel like, a less than optimal play this turn. It's not bad. I mean, he can still top deck a Heavenly Knight.
He could just pull a Heavenly Knight.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, it's very rare that we see, you know, Heavenly Knights played on curve and just being able to go face, right? Reducing damage again.
All right, the Ektar to clear.
Exactly enough shadows as well.
Yep, but again, like you said, 1 Heavenly Knight off the top will spell the end of Sheepy. Judge of Retribution is still a great play here.
Yep,
well,
and Sheepy races.
Not anymore. I like this.
Perfect. I was just getting bored.
No!
Yeah, Judge of Retribution is put into a very awkward spot here.
Not quite good enough.
No.
Not quite good enough. Yeah, that play was huge. Playing the Heavenly Knight last turn instead of the Judge of Retribution set this game up a lot harder for SHADOWSHADET.
Do you Tribunal and just pray?
You can't. You can't do that. I mean, it might be the only play here. He can Ether of the White Wing into a Heavenly Knight. So that is a possibility. It'll have 8 defense.
And then evolve the Ether.
Evolve the Ether, and then you could take down the Skeleton
zombie.
Prince.
Oh yeah, because it will do the defense and damage. So that does do 5.
Not enough to deal with the Ektar, but I think that's okay. I think that's the safest play.
Interesting.
You could also play the Judge of Retribution, take out the zombie, and then evolve it into the Ektar. And that's also okay. You're leaving a 4/5 with a last word effect, though. This is rough.
I kind of like that because that maintains your Heavenly Knight for the top deck.
Yeah. Let's draw more cards.
Ooh, that helps technically.
Draw more
All
cards.
of this technically helps getting the Heavenly Knight.
Yep.
You were done for.
This is best out now.
Yep.
I feel like SHADOWSHADET had that feeling. It's like, yes, I've got this, and just like threw it out and didn't think about it for a second.
That's the tournament nerves.
It is.
That's the tournament nerves going on right there. Okay. You only need 4 more damage. And I don't think that's coming for 2 turns.
Well, there's 3 sitting in the hand technically. So remember, if John, Beacon of Salvation, comes down, we'll heal 3. So technically that's 5 damage. So there's only 1 damage away from lethal at the moment.
And on Sheepy's side, the only way he can do it is if he draws it, then on turn 9 gets something Ector-ish and hopes that he still has a board. Otherwise, he's waiting for Aisha.
Yeah. Unfortunately for SHADOWSHADET, he does not have a good way to deal with, very specifically, the Skeleton Prince. If Sheepy takes care of this judge, which I think he should.
Sheepy doesn't, Sheepy doesn't see, he won't see any kind of potential lethal. He has to draw, and that'll inform his decision.
Oh, now he has a few options to take it out.
If you place the Catacomb, that's very, very likely to just...
I don't think you Catacomb. I think you either Soul Squash here or Necro Assassin. Possibly Necro Assassin's a little bit better just because it preserves your shadows. I don't think you want to use your shadows on the Soul Squasher.
Uh-huh.
But that also opens you up to, you know, something big happening.
Soul Squasher.
Okay.
Spends the shadows. This is do or die. Heavenly Knight. Oh, still can't do it. 7 play points.
And there's
I think if you
no
ether and
official
pull the Heavenly Knight, you don't have an Evolution Orb, so the Heavenly Knight can only swing in on 1, and then you
it won't be able to swing on anything.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because you don't have the...
So 8 defense will pull out, let's see, that'll be 6,
1, 2,
7, 8. It won't, that's still lethal. Yeah, it's not even good enough.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Has Sheepy done it again?
SHADOWSHADET just, I don't think was fully prepared to play this Havencraft deck today.
Oh, no. Oh, no, what a way to lose!
Justice is delivered.
Sheepy takes yet another victim.
That's right.
There it is. He gives the fist bump. He knows that the math works out.
The plays are slight, but they're huge in matchups like this against especially talented players like Sheepy.
Yeah.
If you make that one slip up, that's all it takes for him to get in there.
This is exactly what he needs too. If he plays the Ector, just swings a Prince, swings a Demon Eater, that's exactly 8.
Exactly 8.
And then the little Soul Squasher plus 2 damage on it is the 4 that he needs.
Yep. And Sheepy just soaking it in right now. You already see the smile on his face. He's trying to hide it, but I see it there.
It's a game of inches. A game of inches. And Sheepy will knock SHADOWSHADET out of the tournament. There it is, the game-winning move. 4 damage left and a little Soul Squasher. A little Soul Squasher dropping the next mixtape. Closes the game out. Sheepy moves on in the tournament and puts himself into the $1,500 ring.
If Soul Squasher made a mixtape, what would it be called?
Can't Squash My Soul.
I like it. That was right off the cuff, too. Give me one. That was good. I'll take it.
That was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, that was great.
But Sheepy